Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. So I find myself um with some thoughts about the next time I move. Right now, I'm living in an Airbnb. The owner's doing some renovations, and I may have to move out of here soon. I haven't really looked for another place because the weather is so nice that I'm thinking when I do have to leave, I can camp out in my car for some time. I'm going to be traveling during the Christmas holiday anyway, so I'll probably just use that as an opportunity to move out and I'll probably drive to either New Mexico or, if I have the time, Wallace, Idaho. I don't know how much time I have during the break. I could also take a bus there or I don't think you can really fly to Wallace, Idaho, just given the geography of. You'd have to go to a big city nearby, and then I won't have a car. So I either drive or take a bus there would probably be what I would do, and so I won't be needing a place during that time. But I'll probably be moving to a different Airbnb, and I this is not the worst place I've been at, but there were a few things that I wish I had known before I moved in here. I made a mistake when I first got here. I think what had happened was when I first got here, I got a little bit too carried away and too excited, and I negotiated things a little bit too tough for first moving in here. I had booked the place for until the end of this year, December 31st, and I got excited and talked to the owner had hired a family member to manage this place and talked to the guy about going forward if it works out, maybe a longer term lease after the new year, and I think I negotiated too hard, almost like I had owned the place. Okay, and he probably thought he had given too many concessions, and he started to be really the manager. He started to be sensitive about all sorts of stuff. He would complain about noises, complain about various things. I gotta sit in here so he doesn't hear, so that other people don't hear me complain about this. But he started to complain about minor noises. It would be 11 o'clock, midnight. I would be out in the kitchen eating, and he would complain about little noises, like not even like music or anything. It wasn't like I turned on Taylor Swift's recent music video. No, nothing like that. Just eating noises. I had my headphones on, putting my computer down on the table, maybe the chair squeaking a little bit, and he would come out to complain about it. And he would complain in a much louder noise than it needed to be, right? And I think part of the problem was that I haggled a little bit too hard when I first moved in here. I know I got too carried away. I am very overworked these days. I often don't think about these things, and that's one mistake that I made that I probably will not make the next time I move into a place. Now, one thing that uh, you see, it's not a big deal that to have somebody complain about something like that. It's not like he had all that much power over stuff like that, but it made the entire home seem very heavy. Like I would be trying to relax at 11 o'clock. You know, one of the big frustrations of working long hours is that I often my eating disorder is kind of acting up again. I have a tendency to snack during the day and then have no appetite for my meal, and uh, unfortunately, my long COVID has returned from time to time, and so, for example, right now it's 8 o'clock in the morning. I wake up with almost no appetite at all. I don't know if this is long COVID related. It could also just be psychological from my days of dealing with long COVID a few months ago, right? It remains to be seen. But I would be home 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, trying to relax. And so having to worry about how much noise was too much created a very heavy atmosphere. Let's put it that way. It's weird. I know. It's so weird. The other thing I want to look at is right now there aren't too many people in here because I don't think the owner is booking new people because she's planning on doing renovations. But during the time when I had roommates come and go, too many of them were very reserved, and that's one thing that and these are not uh, uh, these are pretty well-to-do people. I had one subscriber who suggested, you're dealing with people who are routinely homeless. No, I'm not. These are people with similar careers as paths, at least, as myself, and they're just very reserved, right? I want to be meeting new people, and uh, it's I don't know why we can't be more open about things. And the other complaint I had about the roommates that I had, and this is what usually gets me in trouble when I start asking on Airbnb. See, I would so much love to ask Airbnb hosts before I book. How's the social atmosphere? Are people very reserved or not? Usually that's when people block me from messaging them, right? Unfortunately, I don't know why this is such a hard thing to ask. I also like to ask, if I could, right? Obviously, this will definitely get me banned from Airbnb. I really despise when my roommates are really materialistic and they stack clothes high in the room, or clothes everywhere. Clothes really bother me for some reason. I don't know why. Just seeing it stacked high. I mean, by all means, hoard a lot of clothes, but don't do it in the bedroom. Put it in a storage unit somewhere, or even if it's in the room, put it in boxes or something, right? Don't put it out in the open where I can see. I just really it goes against my world views, and seeing it really affects my psychological state. And I, you know, by all means, have clothes, but it's just really annoying to see a room full of materialistic stuff. It just is. I mean, I'm pretty materialistic too, but I don't like to clutter places, right? All right. That would point that out. The next place I look at, I made some mistakes of playing too hardball when I first moved in, almost like I was dealing with negotiating buying a car or even buying the place, right? The home, right? I played too hard when I first got here, and I think it backfired a little bit. The manager probably thought he gave too many concessions and got upset about that. Sometimes I do that too, right? I give concessions, whether it be to my, I do private tutoring. Sometimes the student comes in the first day, plays hardball with concessions, either the price or the location or the scheduling. And maybe I'm too eager to work and I give those concessions away. But then the second, third session, oh my God, I'm working for nothing. And so it weighs heavily on my work, right? Oftentimes it goes in a downward spiral when tutoring starts like that, right? Unfortunately, it affects my work performance. They definitely don't want to pay more now. They don't want to make concessions on the schedule, and usually it doesn't go well when that happens. I suspect that's what I did when I first moved in here, and I gotta find a way when I book Airbnb, when I ask questions on there, to be able to ask these things without totally getting blocked off, right? The social atmosphere. And I guess I could always ask for some photos of the current state of the Airbnb. Even that's kind of tough, right? Usually they take photos when they first build the place before guests have moved in, right? And so the psyche of the person, right? Do they like to hoard stuff, right? But those two things really bother me for some reason, especially seeing the clothes. I got into a falling out with another house in Seattle. What had happened was my roommate and I actually had separate rooms. And I only asked that he close the door because seeing his clothes piled high on the bed, you got to remember this was during COVID, and I was really trying to clear my head. And then every day I'd come home to see clothes on his bed, and he had a borderline drinking problem. Beer cans all over his room. It really affected my psyche. I was trying to clear my head, and the only thing I asked was that he close the door to his room. And I told we had a bottle of bleach in the laundry room. I told him that the next time he leaves the door open, I'm pouring bleach all over his clothes. And so he continued to leave the door open. And one day, close the door. And I grabbed the bleach and I ran to his room and I threatened to pour it on his clothes. And he screamed. And so I moved out of there not long after that. It was just affecting both of us way too much. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.